Hello. Today we're going to replace a variable speed fan motor in an air conditioning and heating system. First thing I did is make sure all the power is off here and at the circuit breaker. I checked the fuse, this little 5 amp fuse right here, and it is not blown. So that means that's probably the motor right here. There's two plugs. I unplugged this plug first, then the second plug right here. I undid the screw that goes right here, which is the grounding screw. I have one more screw to take off here, and this fan unit should just pull out all by itself. Let me take this other one off. Little mounting bracket. Very simple, just 4 screws. I didn't have to take these off, but it gives me more room to maneuver. Right now that should just come out all by itself. If you look over here, you can see there's a little track right here. And the little metal flange just slides into that track. So let's try it. Voila. Just hang up a little bit right here. There it is. Here's how this works. The motor turns this fan, which sucks air in here and blows it out here, distributing it throughout the whole property. This fan is held on by a set screw right here, which will remove. Take the motor out on this opposite side with these bolts that are on rubber mounts, so it's kind of cushion a little bit for vibrations. We'll undo the mounts, put the new motor on, and reverse the process. Let's give it a try. So with the set screw right here, this one happens to be 3/8 of an inch. I'll just loosen it gently. Look, it spins. Help me, help me.
Do you want me to help you?
No, I got it, just moving. Cool, it's tight. So, I'll cheat and use a lever for more perpendicular pressure. Ta-da. Now it slides freely, more or less. A little bit rusted right here, so I'm going to sand this down a little bit so I have a clear clearance to get it off. Now we're going to remove these 3 mounting bolts. Making sure that we realize that's a rubber mount. There's a washer with rubber between there. Put everything back together the same way. Little spacer. We really need to sand this down. The rest of the part is, or it's not fitting so well. All I'm doing now is sanding off the rust that's blocking the shaft from sliding out. It's really superficial. It's not that bad. Oh, yeah, it's kind of heavy. Let's try that way again, just drop it off. So now that this sandpaper cleaned off the shaft, it's smooth. I can just take it off and shake the motor out. There it is. That's the old motor. And if you look over here, you'll see that here's where I pulled the old plugs out. They match where the new plugs will go in, and we have this oriented right here just adjacent to that. So we'll make sure we put the bracket on. It's in a similar area so it'll mount correctly within the unit itself. Gracias. Where's it? So I'm going to loosen up this housing, little clamp. Now it's important to make sure the distance is the same, so when you put it on, your shaft is centered where it won't be hitting the squirrel cage. So I'll pick this up, go right over to here, install the arms, and clamp it down. I know they're not quite lined up yet, so when it gets a bit tighter, so I can play with it. There's a little slot in here so you know exactly where it needs to go. It's getting there. Okay. That one's good. That one's good. That's almost good. If I need to adjust this, once it's inside the unit, I can always just loosen it up, slide it this way, so this band can go higher or lower on the motor. You know, these aren't exact replacements, aftermarket. So we shall see. There. Still have room for my plugs to go in. Now we just need to slide it back over the blower cage. Reach on the other side. Okay, ready? Slide it over there. I'm going to tap it a little bit with my hand. Going in?
Yes.
It is? Wow, nice. Okay. Now for this, I'll just do a reverse on the screws. We'll start here. I haven't adjusted my fan yet. I want this to help hold it up. Okay, let me see what's going on. Okay, hold it up a little bit higher. Okay, I gotta come towards you. Try to push a little bit further, okay? So push the fan.
Wait,
Ready?
which way? Which way?
Straight into the motor. Okay, let it go towards you, please. Going towards you. There, like that. Hold it. Hold it.
Okay.
That's right. 1 second. Just put these in lightly. There. Okay, hold it please. I'll tighten it. Just a unit. It should be okay. Ready? Okay. Okay. Now, you look over here. You try to spin the fan, and it's hitting on this side over here. So, I locate my set screw right here, and it goes on the flat part of the shaft. Let's see what the room I have. I can adjust this however I want it. Too tight. There's the flat part of the shaft. There's my set screw. Make sure that sits on the flat part. Take the wrench. Oh. Still on the flat part, always check that. Tighten it as you go. Now let's spin it and see if it rubs anywhere. No rubbing. So I'm just retighten these few things to make sure. Then we'll install it back into the cabinet, plug it in. Okay. So we take this. Now we're going to install it back into these tracks, being careful not to squish any wires as you get back to the compartment here. Tracks on each side. There it goes. Now there's one track in. There's the other track in. No wires are binding. It's in. So now we have this mounting bracket with 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one is also for the ground screw. So we'll put these outer ones on first. I'm just snugging the screws down so I can adjust it, make sure everything's perfect. This screw is for the ground wire. Okay, so it's securely mounted. The motor's tight, the cage spins freely. Here's the wires. This one goes over here. You're gonna go in one way. This other one, all this has a little clip right here. It also can only go in one way. Okay. Now we're ready to turn the power on and give it a try. I turned the circuit breaker on at the main circuit breaker box. Now there's a smaller breaker here, so we'll give it a try. So that's good. Now what to do is just turn the system on. So we'll go back to the thermostat here. And maybe just, it's so cold out today. And we'll see if the system kicks on. Might take a few minutes. Well, it's so cold here that we had to turn the heater on. You can hear the fan blowing, and this fan is variable speed. It's 4 speeds, so it starts off slow to get the air circulating, using less energy that picks up the full speed, full RPMs. But it's a very quiet motor, easy replacement, easy to do by yourself. Just always be safe from dealing with electricity.
Oh, that's much better.
Is it quiet, do you think, or not?
I think it's quiet.
My guy said just pour hot water down here, as opposed to bleach or vinegar. It's all causes rust, you know.
Where?
For the drainage thing, your service, you know.
Oh.